friends, with one more class we can wind up the study of the nouns in English. The last topic is the nouns and their cases. Now, what do you mean by the term case? It is the form of a noun or pronoun that shows its relation to some other word in a sentence, especially the verb. The traditional grammarians speak of three important cases in English. They are the subjective case, the objective case, and the possessive case. The modern grammarians include a few other cases like the dative case, then ablative case, then instrumental case, and locative case. They have in fact formulated a new branch of grammar called case grammar. The chief exponent of case grammar is Charles Fillmore, Charles, Charles, Fillmore. It is nothing but a modification of Noam Chomsky's transformational generative grammar. In formulating case grammar, the modern grammarians are very much indebted to the ancient Indian linguist Panini and his Karaka theory. In Sanskrit, Karaka is the same as the case. So, Karaka theory is the same as case grammar. Now, we can study these different cases in detail. The first one is the subjective case. If a noun or a pronoun is used as the subject of a sentence, it is said to be in the subjective case. It is also called nominative case. For example, John is a doctor. Here the noun John functions as the subject in this sentence. Therefore, you can say it is in the subjective case. Look at another sentence. She is a teacher. Here the pronoun she is the subject of the sentence, and so in the subjective case or nominative case. The second one is objective case. If a noun or pronoun functions as the object in a sentence, you can say it is in the objective case. It is also called accusative case, accusative, accusative case. Now look at the examples. The principal punished Rani for her indifference. Here, the noun Rani is used as the object in this sentence, so it is in the objective or accusative case. Or The police arrested the culprit. Here, the word culprit is the object in the sentence. Therefore, it is in the objective or accusative case. The pronouns undergo a change in the objective case. For example, I will become me, we, us, he, him, she, her, they, them. So these changes in form occur as far as the pronouns are concerned. Now we can study the third one, namely the possessive case. It's also called the genitive case, genitive. If a noun or pronoun denotes possession or source, it is said to be in the possessive case, also called genitive case. Look at the examples. It is Mohan's car. Mohan apostrophe S. It is Mohan's car. Here, Mohan's car is in the possessive case because it shows possession. When you say it is the minister's order, minister's is in the possessive case because it shows the source. Now we must study how the possessives are formed in English. There are different methods. Number one, by adding the apostrophe mark and S to the singular nouns not ending in S. For example, boy apostrophe S, boys. Girl apostrophe S, girls. Second one, by adding an apostrophe mark alone to the nouns ending in S. If the noun ends in the letter S, you need add only the apostrophe mark. For example, it is the girls' school. Here you have to put the apostrophe mark after the letter S, girls' school. So also the students' hostel. Students, after the letter S, you have to put the apostrophe mark. Next one, classical names take only the apostrophe mark. For example, Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras, then apostrophe mark alone. Sophocles' plays. Just write the name Sophocles, put the apostrophe mark after that. Now, ordinary names ending in S can be made possessive in two different ways. One, by putting the apostrophe mark alone after the letter S. The other, putting the apostrophe mark and also S. For example, when you write Keats's poetry, you can write it in two different ways. You can write the name Keats, then put the apostrophe mark, then S, Keats's poetry. If you want, you can omit the last S and say Keats's poetry. It can be written as Keats apostrophe mark after the letter S. The compound nouns become possessive by taking the apostrophe mark to the last word. For example, it is my brother-in-law's car. Here you put the apostrophe mark after law. It is true of names containing several words. For example, you can say Henry the Fourth's wife. Henry the Fourth apostrophe S. Usually when you write it, we write only Henry Fourth. But when you read it, you have to read it as Henry the Fourth. The word the won't be seen in the written form, but in the spoken form, you have to add the word the. Henry the Fourth, Richard the Second, etc. Next point, abbreviated forms become possessive by taking the apostrophe mark and S. For example, the PM's secretary, the Prime Minister's secretary, just write PM and then put the apostrophe mark and S. The CM's car, then VIP's escort, etc. The possessives can also be formed by putting the word of before a noun. It is called of possessive or of genitive. For example, the roof of the building, the legs of the table, etc. Generally, in present day English, the S genitive is used in the case of living beings and personified objects. For example, the cat's tail or fortune's favorite. It is also used with nouns denoting time, space, weight, and dignified objects. For example, a month's salary, a man's feet, ocean's depth, and so on. In case of inanimate objects and living things of lower status, we use the of genitive, that is, the height of the building, the depth of the sea, the sting of a scorpion, and so on. Sometimes we can use the double genitive. For example, a friend of Mohan's, Mohan apostrophe S. A play of Shakespeare's, Shakespeare apostrophe S. Here you find both the S genitive and the of genitive. Now that much about the cases in English. Just remember the modern case grammar is the same as the ancient Karaka theory. Now let me come to the last part of my talk, error analysis. Now look at the sentence. He entered into the lab without permission. Do you think this sentence is grammatically correct? No. What's the problem here? After the verb enter, you cannot use a preposition. So you have to say he entered the lab without permission. But sometimes you can use it with a preposition with a slight difference in meaning. For example, you can say he entered into a contract with the company, or he entered into a conversation with the manager. These are correct expressions. Here, the word enter means to start an involvement with somebody or something. So, after the verb enter, no preposition. Now, you can use the noun form of the word enter with a preposition. For example, his entry into the room created all the problems. That is correct. So after the verb enter, no preposition. After the noun entry, there must be a preposition. In fact, there are a few such verbs in English. I have already explained the case of the word discuss in one of my classes. The verb discuss does not take a preposition, but the noun discussion always takes a preposition. They discussed the matter in detail, not they discussed about the matter. But you can say there was a discussion about the matter. Another such verb is control. You can say he controls all the members easily. Here, the verb control is used without a preposition. In fact, you cannot use a preposition after it. But if you are using the noun form control, there must be a preposition after it. He has complete control over the members. Another word is remember. Don't use a preposition after the verb remember. So you cannot say he remembers about everything in the past. Wrong. You have to say he remembers everything in the past. But if you are using the noun form remembrance, you can use a preposition after that. The remembrance of things past, or his remembrance of past events, etc. Another such word is reach. Don't say he reached at the station in time. That is wrong, because the verb reach does not take a preposition. You have to correct it as he reached the station in time. Friends, that will do for the time being. We can meet again in our next class. Thank you.